Yeah, now it's working. Hi, welcome to Making Apple Pie with Dave. What a great day to make an apple pie. Nice fall day. If you can see through the window, the wind is blowing. The leaves have turned color. They're starting to come off the trees. So first thing you have to do is get the right kind of apple. I checked, sometimes you might think the crisp apples are the best ones to make pie, but that's not the case.
Why not?
If you get your delicious
Why not?
apples, if you get delicious or Granny Smith apples, for example, they get real mushy.
Oh.
So I asked my local fruit dealer, see I'm peeling just with a knife, I asked my local fruit dealer what kind of apples to get, and she said, well, her mother uses Golden Delicious, which I've heard before, and Jonathan apples. So I got these Jonna Gold apples, which are a mixture of both.
How would she know?
Well, she says her mother uses them.
Well, what is?
So see how I'm peeling?
What
just
kind of
with the
authority
knife?
is her
Yeah,
mother?
are you getting my knife action?
Why don't you use a peeler?
Well, this is much faster.
Well,
And
you
it
have
gets-
two nice
and
peelers.
It gets through the cracks and the crevices.
But you have
So
two
the
nice
first stage
peelers.
is to peel the apples. Next, I'm going to core them and
Why don't you-
slice them up.
Why don't you peel yourself?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Easy way to peel. Once I have the apples peeled, I have this corer. I just put it on the apple, upside down, center it, press down, voila, the core comes out. Now I have these pieces are actually too large, so I'm going to cut each of them into several slices, about like that. So they're fairly thin. You don't want them to be too thin or they'll get mushy. Too thick, they'll be hard. Cut. Okay, once the apples are all peeled, I'm going to, I'm just using the recipe from The Joy of Cooking, which you can see here. I'm doubling the recipe. This is apple pie 1 for The Joy of Cooking. We're supposed to put in 3/4 of a cup of sugar, but that's pretty sweet. So I'm doubling it, should be 1.5 cups. I'm just making it slightly over a cup, but I'm mixing brown sugar in with the white sugar. Also, we have 2 to 3 tablespoons all-purpose flour, double that. You put more flour in if the apples are going to be very juicy. And personally, I hate to get an apple pie that's real runny at the end. So when in doubt, put a little bit more in than you need.
Personally.
A tablespoon of fresh lemon juice is optional. I'll put some of that in a second. That's so it gives it more flavor, and so it doesn't turn brown while you're waiting for the crust to get done. 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon doubled, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt doubled. Once you get it all stirred together, we're going to put this in the refrigerator, let it sit for 15 minutes or so while we get the crust ready. For the crust, you can either use shortening, you can use margarine, you can use Crisco. I'm actually going to use Crisco. My mother used to use Crisco or lard, but I'll use Crisco and show you how that works in a second. And we got this new food processor for this event. Okay, now this should be enough for 2 pies, 2 full, double crusted pies. For 2 pie crusts, it's 2.5 cups of flour, so I'm doubling it. I'm using 5 cups of flour. I'm using 2 things of Crisco. So the first thing basically we do is you put the flour in the food processor. We cut up the Crisco in big chunks, and we add a little salt, which in this case is like a teaspoon of salt doubled and a teaspoon of white sugar doubled. And then we're going to food process it very shortly, just so that it kind of looks like the size of like small peas.